Okay, we are live at lunch, immigration Q&A, answering all of your questions, talking about what is going to be changing under Trump, what is already changing, and what you should be doing to prepare for Trump 2.0. So as people are coming in, put your questions in the chat. And también hablo español. Si tienen preguntas, puede hacerme las preguntas en español. All right. So what can we do to prepare? I think all of us need to start learning how to breathe, how to care for ourselves, and how to fight. This is going to be a fight for democracy. And I'm not prone to exaggeration. So when I say that this is a fight for democracy, I really believe it. I fully believe that he will fulfill his promises to be dictator on day one. And it does not take much to undo our democracy. So those of us who want to continue as a democracy, we will have to make sure that we begin to fight to uphold the Constitution and to push back on the ways that Trump is going to not only change immigration, but change everything, everywhere. So, for example, has anyone ever heard of a border czar? I do immigration law. I've served immigrants for 2.5 decades. I've been an immigration attorney since 2010. And I have never heard of border czar. I think I heard maybe in reference to Harris, but there's never been an actual position of a border czar. There is now, or there will be come January 20th when Trump takes office. The border czar is going to be Tom Homan, according to information that is starting to spread. Tom Homan was the director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So he knows a little bit about immigration law, a little bit about how to deport people. And Trump has said that he will begin the deporting machine, the mass deportations. So we already have a new position, border czar. To effectuate all of these mass deportations that he wants to do. Now, if you watch some of my old videos leading up to the elections, I was encouraging people to vote. I was encouraging people to vote pro-immigrant. I was giving warnings about what things would look like under Trump 2.0. And I had said, well, I don't know how mass deportations could happen because there's already limited bed space in detention centers. There's limited attorneys and government attorneys and judges to process deportation cases. They have to give them due process, right? Well, Trump has a way of just avoiding everything that is truly American, such as constitutional rights like due process, which belong to immigrants regardless of their status here. He has stated multiple times during his campaign promising to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, which is something that's from like the 1700s. The last time we used it was in World War II to gather up Japanese into internment camps. So you can see where that kind of idea is taking him, is into detention camps. No due process, just gather them up, send them out. So this is possible, folks. He is already thinking of how to do this, and now he's going to set people in place to effectuate his plans. So Tom Homan, previous director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, he will now be appointed as border czar, a position we've never had, a position that will not require Senate confirmation. So this is going to get bad real quick, guys. All right, so let's see what kinds of questions we have. Do green card holders need travel documents to travel abroad? As long as your green card is valid, you just need your green card and a passport, which can be hard. For example, if you got your green card through asylum. So make sure you have a valid passport. That passport's not to get back into the US necessarily, it's to get into other countries. So depending on what country you're from, where you hold your passport, that will determine where you, which countries you can get into. El permiso de viaje de mi esposo está pendiente desde mayo y en enero queremos viajar. Es necesario. ¿Qué podemos hacer? Dependiendo cómo está arreglando el permiso de viaje, si es por residencia, estos permisos están demorando más de 6 meses. Entonces ya casi estamos en 6 meses. Yo creo que va a llegar antes de enero, pero si sale sin permiso va a perder todo lo que ha hecho. Entonces, si está trabajando con abogado de inmigración, hable con su abogado antes de salir porque puede cambiar todo. Mama M. Wow, when they said the left has lost their marbles, they were absolutely correct. Okay, guys, here we go. So what we're seeing now is that all of those who voted for Trump are starting to deny all of his campaign promises, saying, no, he's not going to do mass deportations. He can't do that. He won't do that. He never said that even. Roll back the tapes. We have the receipts, and come January 20th, you will see. So, ¿qué podemos hacer? Lo que se puede hacer para preparar es entender que Trump hizo promesas muy grandes y ya está empezando de poner personas en lugares para hacer cumplir con sus promesas. Entonces, por ejemplo, ya está empezando de elegir quién va a dirigir ciertas partes del gobierno y él ha hecho una nueva posición que se llama el zar, el rey, se puede decir, sobre la frontera. Esa persona, Tom Homan, antes era director de ICE, la policía de inmigración, los que se encargan de deportaciones. Entonces ya está poniendo personas en lugares que saben cómo hacer deportaciones, cómo hacer deportaciones de una manera que nunca hemos visto. Esto es lo que él ha prometido. Y yo antes quería saber cómo iba a hacerlo, cómo iba a ser posible, si iba a romper los derechos de inmigrantes o cómo lo iba a hacer. Y él está diciendo que quiere usar una ley del siglo 1700, que es para el tiempo de guerra, para brincar todos los procesos legales y deportar a todos sin corte, sin nada. Entonces, esto es algo muy serio y ya está haciendo movimientos para cumplir con sus promesas. Will Trump be able to deport illegals in California? I don't like that word. It doesn't matter what state he has promised to actually, he said, I don't know what's going on with my eyes. I put like a filter on, but those are not my eyes, sorry. He has promised to start in Aurora, Colorado, where there are many legal TPS Venezuelans that he claims that they brought gang members, that there is now that these gang members have taken over apartment complexes, which there is absolutely no, it's not valid. There's no reliable information supporting that claim. He's also threatened to go to Springfield, Ohio and start there, where he claims that the Haitian TPS holders are eating the cats and the dogs. So it doesn't matter where you are or what your status, even if you have lawful status, work permit, TPS or whatever, he has said that he will be deporting everyone en masse. And the new director, the previous ICE director, who will now be appointed as border czar, a new position that does not require Senate confirmation, Tom Homan, he is on record. There's video of him circulating saying that, it's okay. We don't need to separate. We don't need to be worried about separating the families because they can all just go with their family member. Nice, guys. Miss Jackson, you're a naturalized citizen. I'm hearing about denaturalization. I'm terrified. How likely is this? This is possible. I think it's not going to be widespread. Usually, historically, there have been about 11 cases that they have reopened to try to take away the citizenship. There is a process, a legal process to fight that. So definitely, if there's anything in your immigration history that you are concerned about, make sure you're talking with an immigration attorney now to begin to prepare, because Stephen Miller, who is also going to be part of the deportation regime, he's going to be appointed as deputy chief of staff. He also has said that the denaturalization that they started to ramp up, they are going to turbo something. I can't remember the phrase that he used, but they're going to do more of it. So I wouldn't be worried about it if your history is clean, but if there's anything in there, for example, people who said they were single when they got a green card through a parent, but they were actually married. Those are the kinds of things that they can look at as potential fraud to undo citizenship. So Ms. Jackson, I wouldn't lose sleep over it, but if there's anything you're worried about, make sure you're talking with an immigration attorney. We have a free discovery call process, 541-653-8899. Would be happy to help you with that. Asylum pending status will be deported. Hopefully not, because you are supposed to get a process, a legal due process, where you can see a judge or apply with USCIS. Asylum is a legal process. I don't care what Trump says. I don't care what anybody says. JD Vance also has strong feelings about asylum and TPS and all of those programs intended to help people. But you should be safe while you go through that process. Mark, in Florida and Texas right now, they will not serve anyone medically without knowing their immigration status. That could go nationwide. That's horrific. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Thanks for all the follows, guys. I think it's going to be really important that you be following this closely. If you're there's 1 in 15 people or families in America are mixed status families. That means one person is a U.S. citizen and the other one is either undocumented or has other status. If you are one of those, make sure you're following our page. We are committed to giving timely and updated information in order to help immigrants and their families. How far back are they revoking citizenship, Letty? I don't know. But if you have any concerns, make sure you're talking with an immigration attorney. Can they take away our green cards? Luisa, possibly. Anything's possible. I don't know exactly what they have up their sleeves or who they're going to focus on first. I've been saying I think that they're going to focus on DACA and TPS first. So I think if you have any of those statuses, definitely make sure that you're looking for other permanent options. RE478, you're a U.S. citizen. What can I do for my dad? He's here for 18 years. He came with no inspection. Is he good to apply? So parents, this is the kicker, guys. I hate that term, anchor baby, right? They say that people come here to have a baby because then they can get their citizenship or have a pathway to citizenship. But what they don't understand is that, number one, you have to wait until that child is 21. Number two, if you entered without inspection, like this person is saying their dad did, you're going to need a waiver. And the only way to qualify for that waiver is if you have a spouse or a parent who's a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. So many people who have kids here don't have that qualifying family member to qualify for the waiver, so they won't be able to qualify. But definitely call us 541-653-8899. We would be happy to take a look and see if your dad has any other options. Olga, tenemos TPS y mi permiso ya llegó, pero no sé qué falta, Olga. Perla, you're seriously considering selling everything and moving back to Mexico. Should I be this scared? These are going to be personal decisions that people need to make together with their immigration attorney. I definitely don't want to come on here and tell everybody that they need to leave now. But I do think that there needs to be planning in place, contingency plans. If this happens, we will do that. Even in my family, where all of us are U.S. citizens, we are talking about contingency plans. So I think anyone, especially those in a mixed status family, need to have these conversations early and need to have a plan. If dad doesn't come home one day, where do we start looking? What are some things that we need to have in place? Do I need to make sure that people are on bank accounts? Yesterday people were asking, like, should I put myself on the house, the mortgage? Like, yes, like these are things that are smart to do anyways, because you never know, like if somebody's going to get sick or die suddenly. These are all contingency plans that for the worst case scenario, right? We hope that this is not going to affect as many people as we think it will. Perla, make sure that you're talking with an immigration attorney, see if there are any options for your family. Before you make the decision to leave, understand how long it will take to potentially come back legally and what that will look like, and make sure that you're willing to make those changes and those commitments. Look, a lot of people have young kids. This is going to impact them. Do you want to separate a family? Do you want kids to grow up in a foreign country? These are all conversations that are going to be difficult, but need to start happening now. As my husband's saying, he's an American, but he's worried that someone's going to see him and call immigration officials to pick him up. He's, served in the military several generations here, but because of his dark skin, he looks like he could be an undocumented immigrant. He could get picked up. So like I said, these are conversations even my family is having, even though we are all U.S. citizens. Sue Ellen, yes, he is going to mass deport. That was his basic promise. And so everyone who's saying, no, he didn't say that. No, he's not going to do that. Oh, he was just kidding. No, there is too much anti-immigrant sentiment right now, too much xenophobia. And this is like worldwide, actually. But it's shocking to me that a country that was built on immigrants, we believe here at Molina Immigration that immigrants make America great. We reclaimed that slogan. So it's shocking to me the amount of support for these mass deportations that are having. And it's very ironic because like people say, well, I just voted for the economy. Well, you voted for a man who is going to increase tariffs, which is going to increase prices, in case you didn't understand how tariffs work. And then you voted for a man who wants to deport millions of people who are the base of our workforce, who pay taxes, who pay into Social Security. And so how exactly is that going to help our economy? I'd like for somebody to please explain that to me, like I'm a first grader. How long is adjustment of status with advanced parole taking to be approved? So we're seeing, depends on where you are, district by district will depend, but I'm in Oregon. We're seeing these approved pretty quickly, about 6 months from start to finish for the green card. But I would expect that to slow down because number one, there will be a return to interviews that we haven't had those during the Biden administration. So that's meant that the cases have moved along much faster, but I would expect those definitely to slow down along with the interviews to have increased scrutiny of all applications and lots of denials for stupid reasons. Is it beneficial to do advanced parole if you have DACA? You should have done this I don't know, years ago, whenever, like 8 years ago when they started having advanced parole for DACA, but now When's the next best time besides yesterday? Now, today. So yes, especially if you are married to a U.S. citizen, you can use that advanced parole to then count that as a legal entry and get your green card much faster and easier than without the advanced parole. I do expect DACA to come under attack and advanced parole to come under attack. So please, if you have DACA, make sure you're looking at other options. I've been talking with DACA recipients for, the program's been in for like over 10 years now. It's 12 years. And many of them have other options, but just haven't gotten around to it. There hasn't really been a reason to it. The first Trump administration, when he went straight for DACA, should have been an indication that people needed to start working on other options. But unfortunately, people still have not. So if you're one of those, please pon las pilas, hazlo ya. Yo soy ciudadano americano desde 2012. Voy a perder mi citizenship. Carlos, si tiene alguna preocupación de la manera como recibió su ciudadanía, hay que hablar con un abogado de inmigración. Nosotros ofrecemos una llamada de descubrimiento completamente gratuita, 541-653-8899. Trump empezó de reabrir casos, o sea, siempre se ha hecho, pero muy, muy en común, como 11 cada año, pero bajo Trump sí subieron estos casos y lo que están buscando es fraude, lo que están buscando es personas que no calificaban para su residencia o no calificaban para su ciudadanía, pueden reabrirlo y tratar de deportar a esas personas. María, tienes Advanced Pro con DACA hasta noviembre de 2025. ¿Estás seguro viajar en diciembre? Por favor, que viajen ya para Navidad o lo que sea, pero antes del 20 de enero. Incluso yo también tengo ganas de viajar Navidad, pero voy a regresar antes del 20, porque incluso los abogados de inmigración bajo Trump, ellos fueron sujetos a detención, a hacer preguntas, en investigaciones. Entonces, yo imagino que va a ser peor, aún peor. Si ellos dicen que el proteger a inmigrantes es un delito, yo voy a también sufrir las consecuencias, lo que ellos ponen. So, hay que tener cuidado cuando está viajando después del 20 de enero. Guled, I have a work permit and Social Security asylum. How is that? Please answer my question. So I don't know if you have your asylum pending with USCIS or with the court, but those should be able to continue on unless they start just denying all of them without due process, but you should be okay for now. Vives, you applied for a U visa in March of 2024. No answer yet. You should have gotten at least receipt notices by now. Sometimes they are taking a while on those. We have seen some of our cases take around 6 months, but it's been over 6 months. I would be talking with your immigration attorney about where are those receipts. And then this question as a mom, you say you're a mom, where will your kids go in any deportation? This is the kind of stuff that's going to break hearts around the country if there still is any kind of love for immigrants. I'm afraid that we've lost the love. But to answer your question, Tom Homan, the new border czar, is on video record saying that the separation of families is not necessary. The kids can go with their parents. The spouses can go with their spouse. So, if you're caught with your kids, yeah, you'll probably be, allowed to take them with you. The question is, would you be picked up by ICE while you're with your kids? That's the stuff that stresses me out for moms. Make sure that you are creating plans. Who can pick up your kids if you cannot pick up your kids from daycare, from school, whatever? There needs to be a plan. We need community right now. If you are safe, if you look like me and you have neighbors that you know are undocumented or at risk, make sure that you are reaching out, being allies, being a safe space, being a resource. Our communities are going to need us. So please make sure that you are looking for support around you. Yeah, I am Koso's mom too. You expect him to follow rules in the Constitution? Nope. We will be lucky at the end of the 4 years if we still have a Constitution. Sue Ellen, deportation camps being readied. I would not be surprised. Geo is one of the main, I think there's like 2 privately funded detention businesses. Their stock went through the roof after the elections. Hello Kitty, what kind of work visa? He is saying that only the best and the brightest, which we have the H-1B program, which is already significantly limited, even though we need more professionals. The H-1B program is for anyone with at least a bachelor's or a master's degree. So I don't know if that program will continue or not. How much does an adjustment of status after advanced parole and marriage cost? Great question. I'm not going to quote fees on here because it depends case to case, but definitely call us. We will walk you through a free process and we'll let you know what the cost is to work with us. The filing fees alone are over $2,000. So it is significant, the cost. We do a payment plan on our fees because we know that this is an investment. But I really, really want to encourage people, like if you need to skip Christmas, if this needs to be your Christmas gift, the security that you're providing to your family, then I'm sure your kids will understand that Christmas will begin again next year. Edith has an I-130 that's still processing 9 months. Yeah, many of our I-130s are taking over a year. Deportation still a possibility. A lot of my clients like to take around their receipt notice, which in the past has been a good way to try to help ICE to make a decision about whether they should be taken into custody or, deported or whatever. I don't know if that will still be safe. Since they are talking about deporting people who even have legal status. TMB, what is the process? Will there be any notice or letter? Yeah, I heard this actually on a video, like how the mass deportations could be effectuated is just by mass terror and people deciding to just leave. So like, for example, let's say that letters just start going out, like we saw right after the elections, these mass text messages that were going out to a Black demographic, which I don't know how they knew that to text, which numbers belong to Black individuals, but telling them that they would be picked up on a certain day and time to begin their work in a plantation. So what if these letters go out to undocumented individuals, either from the Department of Homeland Security or just random, people trying to scam, that could create enough mass fear to make people leave on their own. So that's a theory that I think is possible. And so that's why I'm encouraging people to make informed decisions. If you're going to leave the country, no shade to you. If that's the decision that you believe is best for your family, then we'll work with you to set that up so that you can come back legally later. But these are decisions that need to be informed. They need to be informed decisions. You need to talk with an immigration attorney so that you can know what is the best decision for you instead of making a rash decision without understanding the consequences of leaving. Will I-130 cases be affected? I have heard that Trump wants to end being able to apply for siblings, that he wants to just have it be spouses, the nuclear family, so spouses and children. So right now you can apply for siblings, you can apply for your parents, and so I do think that's possible that could be, the I-130 could be impacted if he chooses to limit that. Miss Jackson, you're not the only one going crazy. I'm sorry. This is unnecessary stress, because at the end of the day, America is going to see Trump for who he is. And, the problem, all of these policies that he's going to start implementing, yes, we can sue them. There are already organizations preparing to take these policies to court. But as we've seen in the past, and as we saw, like, for example, DACA, that litigation, that lawsuit is still ongoing. And all the people that have been impacted who can't file for initial DACA, who can't renew their DACA if they let it expire more than 1 year, these are all the people who will be caught in the middle. What if it goes before a federal judge who decides they agree with Trump's policies? Somebody posted on one of my videos, like, well, if the Family Unity Program, PIP program, was illegal, why did they do it in the first place? And I was like, that's not the problem, but that's our system. That's the checks and balances. So way it's supposed to work is that a president does something, other people don't agree with it, so they take it to court and a judge can decide it based on the Constitution, based on past precedent, case law, all of those things, the interpretation of the laws. That's the way it's supposed to work. But the wheels of justice wind very slowly, and who will get caught up in the process is what I'm concerned about. También hablo español. Si tiene preguntas en español, puede ponerlas en los comentarios. Estamos hablando de cambios que ya están en proceso, cambios, aunque Trump todavía no es presidente hasta enero, cuando empieza el 20 de enero. Emmanuel, you just finished your interview and waiting for a decision, but you have your work permit. Are you safe? I think so. Hopefully it will be approved soon. Make sure you're talking with your immigration attorney. If you don't have one, if you filed on your own, I know a lot of people try to file on their own. Some people do it successfully, some people not. Now, after January, or even now in December, November, if you're applying now, at least have an immigration attorney review your situation, talk to you about any potential risks or, anything that's strange in your situation. And because anyone filing on their own after January 20th, I think is going to be facing a much steeper uphill battle. Oops. Barat, you're a green card holder. You want to apply for a green card for your spouse. How long will it take? That depends what country they're from. That depends whether they're here, if they're or abroad. If they're here, how they entered, what their status is right now. Give us a call. We'd be happy to take a look at that for you and give you a better estimate and explain the steps to do that. 541-653-8899. Barat, you were persistent. Thanks for putting that question a few times. Or maybe that's just TikTok. I don't know. It's like on there like 10 times. Thanks for all the follows, guys. We are recommending that people follow us because we are committing to come on here live Tuesday to Saturday at lunchtime to bring updates, to answer any questions. Also be watching our videos. There will be chaos and confusion, and it's going to be rampant. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So make sure, and it's confusing, right? Immigration's already confusing, but when it's changing constantly, this was one of the tactics. I think that it was like a tactic to wear down immigration attorneys, was the constant changes to the way that things were processed, to the rules, even to the way that the rules were followed, to the case law that was ongoing and changing. It's just part of the torture and the onslaught against people who serve immigrants. Thank you. I am Coco's mom. That's good information. Please share also if you know of anyone who might be needing this information. More about the SIJ process. Adrian, I feel like you've come on here before. Hopefully you have an attorney. It's kind of a complicated process, but I love the special immigrant juvenile process. It's for individuals who were under 21 when they first filed, who were abused, abandoned, or neglected and are in the US, and it's in their best interest to stay here. They can get a green card. There is kind of a backlog right now, so kind of a long wait for that. Make sure you're talking with an attorney about when you can apply for your green card. Your neighbor has a criminal record. How likely is it for him to get deported? His case is closed. Depends on what the crime is, and what his status is. There are some crimes that do make you deportable. What is needed for an 18-year-old to be able to get a social security number or work legally? His visa doesn't give him one. Depends on how he's here, how he got here, what his relationship is with his parents. He might be a good candidate for the special immigrant juvenile. That can be done up to the age of 21 in certain states. Here in Oregon, you can do it up to 21. Not all states do that, though. People are getting stopped by the way they appear. I am Coco's mom too. Yes, exactly. And we have to wonder about Elon Musk, the elephant in the room. He's South African. He's a naturalized citizen, but at one point he was working without authorization. He was on a student visa. He never intended to go to school. In fact, he didn't go to school. He came to open a business. So that is public knowledge. Are they going to denaturalize him? No, they're not. But the question is, why are light-colored immigrants, he's from South Africa, why are light-colored immigrants being asked to join, these official positions to support Trump? Why is it the darker your skin is, regardless of your status? For example, the Haitian asylees, TPS holders in Springfield, Ohio, they are not allowed to stay here. And to make the rest of the country believe that they shouldn't stay here, we're going to spread this horrible, untrue rumor that they eat the cats and the dogs. It's ridiculous. So yes, people are going to be stopped by the way they appear or the way they sound. And we have many, many, many US citizens who still don't fluently speak English. And in case you didn't know, English is not the official language of the US. In fact, there is no official language of the US. And that is because we are a nation of immigrants. There's also not a national religion, because we are a nation that was intended to be a place where you can have religious freedom. So the majority, I would say, of those who support Trump, now you could also probably catch them saying things like speak English or go home or we don't want Muslims here, right? It's Stephen Miller will be appointed as Deputy Chief of Staff. He helped create the Muslim ban under the first Trump administration. It's very interesting to me. Was TPS for Syria going to end? I would expect all TPS programs to go away. And for those of you who don't know or understand what the temporary protected status program is for, it is not just for every country. There are limited countries that have qualified because of very bad things that have happened in their countries. For example, what's going on in Venezuela with communism, what's happened in Haiti with a very bad earthquake, and also a lot of political unrest there. So these are programs that we are supposed to take. You know, what is that Statue of Liberty saying? Give me the poor, give me the destitute. Apparently we don't want them anymore. Apparently we only want the best and the brightest and the whitest. Somebody should coin that. So Rawad, I would be looking for long-term solutions other than TPS. Anton, you voted for a great man. I didn't vote for him. Rambo, immigrants do make America great. Illegal aliens make life hard for all Americans. I would love for you to come on and explain that comment, because all immigrants, regardless of status, pay taxes, pay into the Social Security system. And the statistics show that they do not take more from the public benefits than they pour into it. They do work that no one else wants to do. So Rambo, I hope you're ready to go pick your own strawberries when you want some strawberries next summer, when your local strawberry pickers are deported. Good luck with that. Immigrants make America great. Florentino, is it a good idea to renew your DACA? Absolutely. And if it's going to expire more than 6 months in the future, renew it now. I know they say to wait until 6 months, but I'm concerned that anyone who renews after Trump takes office may find that that program is put on hold permanently. Baby's asking, is it possible to get an advance parole to visit a gravesite if dad passed in 2019? So advance parole is you have to show either a health situation or an educational or work opportunity, or basically like some humanitarian reason. So a lot of times we'll present like the health of an old elderly family member. We've also been able to do it for people, family has passed recently. I would probably look for another reason in addition to the gravesite passing from 5 years ago. That's probably not going to be approved since it was so long ago. My husband's asking, should undocumented individuals meet with a estate planning attorney to make sure legal plans are in place for their families and belongings? Absolutely. I think that's good advice for anyone, regardless of your status. But absolutely, if you have a mixed status family, and there are one out of every 15 families in America is mixed status. So what that means is that this will impact a lot of people. Rambo, you think open borders are dangerous for us all? The border's not open. And I'm not advocating for open borders. And actually, border crossings under Biden have been the lowest in I don't even know how long, but a long time. So you're saying open borders, but what I'm talking about is the people who are here contributing, the people who came here for a better life and are also providing a better life for their communities and for their families. What about those people? January 20th, ICE is coming for the bad boys and girls. No, they're coming for everybody. Jenna, you have an I-751 pending. Should you expect an interview now if we had one for the I-45? I think that they're going to go back to interviewing everybody, which is going to slow down all processes. If you just filed your removal of conditions, probably very soon, if not already, you should be eligible for citizenship, for naturalization. So make sure you're talking with your immigration attorney. If you don't have one, if you filed on your own, talk with us. 541-653-8899. We'd be happy to talk to you for free to tell you whether or when you can qualify. We recommend people file for naturalization as soon as possible. And just as a reminder, once you get your green card, that clock starts that 90 days, if you've been married less than 2 years, you'll have a conditional card. 90 days before that 2-year expiration, you need to file the removal of conditions on Form I-751. And then if you're still together with that same spouse, basically a year later, 90 days before your 3rd anniversary with your green card, you're eligible for naturalization, as long as you meet, obviously, the other requirements. Lucy, your daughter's in the military. Thank you for her service. Military parole in place is still an option, but I do expect that it will have challenges now that the Family Unity Parole in Place program has been found to be illegal. That's the way the laws work, guys. It's called case law. So now that we have a case that said this parole program is, needs to stop immediately, all the other parole in place programs, now anybody who wants to attack those programs can use this case to say, hey, this judge found XYZ in that case, so it should be applied to these new programs. Make sure that you're applying for the military parole in place as soon as possible. Here in Oregon, we're seeing them approved in about 6 months and then another 6 months for the green card. So within the next year, you could be in a much safer position than probably you are right now. How much time or notice will they give once a deportation order has been issued? We don't know. Everything's going to change and the timelines will all change. Andres, the pardon, you're talking about the I-601A because you have DACA, but you can't leave the country. I don't know, can you sell like your foot pictures or something? This is really important, guys. And I would be working 2, 3, 4 jobs in order to figure out a way to get status immediately that is other than DACA. The pardon the I-601A is currently taking 4 to 5 years, and a process total, it's going to be like 6, 7, probably longer years because of what happened. The Family Unity Parole in Place program was intended to take people out of that long wait, to not require the waiver, to not require leaving the country. And now that that program has been ended last week in a federal court, all of these people are going to need the waiver. Who knows if Trump will let them wait out that time, because you don't technically have legal status. I mean, you, Andres, you have DACA, but anyone else who doesn't have legal status, he'll probably say, go wait in your country. But that's the deal with the I-601A, is it's for people who are in the country. So once you leave the country, all of that time that you've spent preparing and waiting is going to be for nothing, and you're going to have to start all over with a waiver. So start selling those foot pics. It's not illegal, so. Karina, your stepdaughter will be 21 in March. When can I start the adjustment of status? After she's 21 or before? It depends, Karina, because depends on how you entered the country. If you entered with a visa and you're eligible for the adjustment of status, we would recommend probably starting to prepare it 6 to 9 months, even maybe a year before she turns 21, just so that you can file it on her birthday. Also, we need to check what date, how old she was when you married her dad. So there's all these kinds of details that we need to look at to make sure that you're eligible. Feel free to give us a call. We have a free discovery call process, 541-653-8899. Christelle, I'm so sorry that this is happening to people. No one deserves this. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for being a support. And thank you for, I'm sure you've probably voted against Trump. And I'm going to encourage anyone, like I said earlier, anyone who looks like me, who has no reason to be at risk, begin using your voice. Somebody reached out to me yesterday and was like, oh, do you guys, because we're hiring. And she was like, can I help? I don't really speak Spanish though. And I said, no, we need, fully bilingual staff, but you have a voice and you can start saying, you can start reaching out to those around you who just right now just need a hug, just need to know that not everyone wants to deport them, because it feels like half the country wants to deport immigrants, documented and undocumented. So thank you, Chris, for coming on and saying that. Please make sure that you are reaching out to those around you who need your help. He said, hola, mi esposo fue deportado 4 veces, soy ciudadano americano, aún puedo ayudarlo, llámanos. Se pone muy, muy, muy difícil y complicado cuando ya tiene deportaciones, pero tal vez hay algo que podríamos hacer. Y si él está aquí y tiene orden de deportación, va a ser muy fácil deportarlo de nuevo. Llámanos 541-653-8899. So forgot to put this one down. Joseph, every country in the world has immigration laws that if you break, you get deported or jailed. Here in America, yes, we do have immigration laws, but we also are members. We are signatories to certain international conventions where we have agreed to do certain things to protect people who come fleeing for certain reasons, who are looking for protection. And that is the majority of people that Trump is talking about deporting. They have not broken the laws. They have applied, they've paid a lot of money to immigration to process work permits and visas. Diamond Girl, don't forget grandma. Yeah, abuelos, abuelas, tíos, tías. Petronella, I'm really sorry to hear that your mom passed away and she filed for you. What's going to happen with that paperwork? Please make sure you talk with an immigration attorney. Stat, there might be something that we could do to help you. Saying you did your biometrics a month ago, will your case be denied? I don't know. I don't know what you applied for. But the biometrics are early on in the process, so you still probably have a lot to do to wait. Joseph K, you're lying. About what? I'm making educated guesses and predictions based on, number one, what we saw under Trump 1.0. Number two, what Trump has said during his campaigns and the whole time, the whole last 4 years. And number three, what people, other educated immigration attorneys are also talking about based on the ways that the laws are now, how they could be changed quickly, what he has already said about being a dictator and all of his plans, Project 2025. I mean, it's all there, guys. Like everyone who says that we are lying, that we are exaggerating, like we have the receipts. So I don't understand why people aren't taking this seriously or think that we are exaggerating it. Film Student Club. I'm assuming they will get rid of DACA. Do you think they will target DACA recipients for deportation? Trump 1.0, he went after the DACA program. The one group of immigrants that the majority of Americans agrees should have a pathway to citizenship, and the one group of immigrants that for the last 25 years, I've been working with immigrants for 25 years, and the DREAM Act has tried and tried and tried. And even as most recent as this administration has tried to put a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and it's killed and it's killed and it's killed. And Trump, that was a part of the legislation that had bilateral, right? Is that what you call it? Like both sides agreed that this was good legislation. It was going to improve border security and provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. And Trump, like everybody was getting ready to be passed, and Trump said, no, I don't want that to pass because that's not that, then it will no longer be a talking point, an issue for his campaign. So couple of Republicans pulled out of it and it was killed. So definitely, I think that DACA will be one of the programs that will have issues. I hate it. I hate that these groups that are the most vulnerable are going to be under attack. But unfortunately, that is the way that bullies work. And Trump is a bully. Okay, guys, my lunch hour is ending. Joseph, there's, at this point, you're now lying. There's Constitution is safe. There's no concentration camps. I wish I could save your contact information, Joseph, and come back in probably not 4 years, probably even just a year from now and say, I told you so. PIP application still an option. The Family Unity Parole in Place program was killed last week by a federal judge. There are other PIP programs, but I think that those programs will also likely come under attack. So make sure any option that you have now, file for it now while it's still an option. Because I believe that the first week of his administration, he's already got the blueprint. He's going to start making the executive orders. I'm not fear-mongering, Joseph. I really wish I could come on here and give good news, but people need to be informed. People need to make informed decisions, whether you choose to stay and fight or leave, or a combination of the two, that you do it with a plan. Because what Trump wants is he wants to create mass hysteria and mass fear. And the only way that you can combat that is by making logical decisions based on information, based on actual information, and talking with people who know what they're talking about. So I've been an immigration attorney since 2010. I've been working with immigrants since 2000. We've seen Trump 1.0. We've heard what his campaign promises are. And that's how we know. So I got to jump off, guys. I really appreciate everyone who came by and gave some love and asked some questions. Please make sure you are following us so that you can have up-to-date information. It's going to all come out rapid fire. I'm planning to take a vacation early January so that I can be ready to fight. I like stealing Trump's little slogan. So we believe that immigrants make America great, and we are going to fight, fight, fight for them. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow at the noon hour, back answering more questions. Take care, everybody.